Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. In today's brief episode, I want to have a look at a couple of things that are going on around the world. First and foremost, we are watching what could be construed as Russian retaliation for recent NATO-Ukrainian operations against the Russian Federation, specifically those strategic bomber bases deep inside the Russian Federation through the use of small drone attacks. Now we're seeing the Russians launch widespread drone and missile attacks really all across the Ukraine. Now I would contend this is just part of the up-tempo of operations that the Russians are committing itself to eventually defeat NATO and the Ukrainian military forces. Did the Russians increase the tempo of operations because of these drone attacks inside of the Russian Federation? Possibly. But we believe the plan always for Russia was to increase the tempo of operations against Ukrainian forces, against the NATO-Ukrainian infrastructure that exists inside the Ukraine. And we're seeing a wide variety of targets being successfully hit by Russian forces. Now, at the same time, these ground and pound operations by Russian forces continue all across the entirety of the front lines. And this is, as we've talked about before, going to ultimately lead to the collapse of the NATO-Ukrainian force construct that exists inside of the Ukraine. Now, there's another series of events that we're watching too, and we need to go all the way over to the United States, specifically LA. We are seeing riots. We are seeing illegal criminal aliens who hold loyalties towards Mexico and other nation states that they have departed to try and exploit a life here in the United States to gain prosperity, to then send that prosperity back south towards Mexico and other nation states. But the reality is these people, these individuals, these criminals that have come into the United States do not hold allegiance to the United States. And more specifically, we have to look at the real reason why they are here in the United States. What was the purpose of bringing millions and millions of undocumented illegal aliens into the United States? Well, the simple answer is votes. And to change congressional districts. The Biden administration launched an operation by bringing in millions upon millions of future-facing, reproducing Democratic voters to upend the American political system. The goal and the purpose of this Democrat neo-Marxist operation was designed to gain a supermajority through illegal means. What does that mean? Well, if you require 51 to 60%, all you really need is 51% of the population reliant on one political party. 51% of the population. Then that party will remain in power for perpetuity. And that's what they were doing. Now, the current administration is using the full force and weight of both the criminal justice system in the United States, the law enforcement agencies, including FBI, ICE, DEA, and other federal agencies, as well as the armed forces of the United States. Remember, to protect from enemies both foreign and domestic. And if you're a political party in the United States and your goal is to change the American political system where there's just one party, where America becomes a one-party unitary state, that was the goal of the puppeteers who were controlling Joseph Biden. Now, there's a response to that. The real American people, the real Americans in the United States, spoke up and said no. And now they're being removed. Now, look, this is going to be painful. It's not going to have the best of optics all the time. But nonetheless, it's something that needs to be done. These people are here illegally. They do not belong here. And then again, furthermore, they were brought here with bad intent to change the political system in the United States, destroy the republic, and usher in a unitary one-party state. It failed. And now, repercussions. The removal. The pain of removal is going to be omnipresent for a little while. But with persistence and fortitude, it will be done. It has to be done. We have to look at very closely of why millions and millions of these people are here. Why are they here? And we think we know the answer to that. And now, unfortunately, for some of them, especially if they have had young children, which many of them do in the United States, I think we have to pay very close attention to those children, and they are going to also have to depart our country as well. So the great cleansing has started, and it will go on for a number of years. There has to be a reset, and there has to be this cleansing. So look, I bid everybody a very happy Sunday. I hope everyone is doing well. As always, thank you for joining us. We'll have more to come tomorrow, Monday. And again, thanks for joining us. Good day.